Okay, we worked through the technical difficulties this morning. We're going to go ahead and start our December meeting. Last meeting of 2023. Is there any visitors with us this morning? If you would, give us your name, and if you have a call, give us your call. Okay. Okay, Mary, we're welcome with the meeting this morning. Anybody else? Anybody online? Nothing heard. Okay. At this time, I would like to take a short pause to remember all of the hams that we have lost this year. So let's do that. Okay. At this time, I would also like to bring up that we lost one of our members recently back in October, Mr. Dave Thompson in 5ZZM. And we'd like to do a quick presentation honoring Dave. Turn it up.
November 5, Zulu Mike. This is W5NOR net control. N5 ZZM. This is W5NOR. For your decades of service to the radio community, with the thousands of contacts throughout the years, and for your unending efforts to assist incoming radio operators, November 5, Zulu Mike. Dave Thompson. You may be gone, but you will not be forgotten.
And that concludes remembering Dave. At this time, we would like to go ahead and start the program. Our program today is on Go Kits. Portable operations that you can carry anywhere at any time and operate. And our presenter today is Lee Greenleaf, and I'm gonna have him come up and do the program today on that. We do have some other kits that he can show off as well that were brought this morning. Lee?
Set this up. Hello. Good morning. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Hope everybody's doing all right this morning. I'm going to try and do a couple of things here. Mark will back it up and we'll begin. Okay, now. Yay. Good morning. We're going to talk about Go boxes. And next slide. It's a lot of other stuff as well. So let's go ahead and if you'll go to the next slide, Mark. There's no exact answers to any of this. You know, you can design whatever works for you. That's the whole thing, is what works for me may not work for you. The main point is make sure that it fits your needs. You know, if you get out someplace, whether you're doing parks on the air, whether you're doing summits on the air, whether you're doing emergency work or whatever, if it's not working for you, then you've wasted your money and your time. So let's take a little bit deeper look into it. Next. They come in lots of different shapes and sizes. Here you've got a smaller box, VHF, UHF setup. You know, makes it real nice with a solar panel on the top as well to keep the battery charged. Down here below, we'll open it up later, but you have a much larger box. And then you've got, you know, go bags that also work. A lot of people that do summits on the air will carry a portable bag, so it makes it easier to climb with or, you know, maneuver in the rough terrain. Next. This is the main thing. Consider how much you're willing to spend or wanting to spend, and then add about 35% because that's what it's going to realistically end up being. Next. Plan, yes, plan, and then plan some more. When I was making this box, I probably played with it in my mind and on paper for anywhere about 4 to 6 months before I actually started building it. And because I wanted it to do so much, you know, size, yes, Martha, size does matter. And how much are you willing to carry? You know, if you've got a go box that's, you know, really big, you know, how far are you actually going to take it? Are you considering multiple cases? A lot of people do those. They carry a radio case, they carry a power supply case. They carry an antenna box or something like that. The cases can be soft-sided, and the equipment depends on the type of power that you need to operate it. That's the big thing. I decided with mine to go with a QRP type setup. I can go to 20 watts, and that's it. Yeah, it would have been nice to probably have 100 watts, but at the same time, it's not practical for power drain. So if you're thinking about doing a 100-watt setup, have a big battery or a generator, a little small portable generator that you want to take with you, because otherwise you're going to deplete your battery extremely fast. Next. The panel material. When I was setting this up, I started looking at it, a lot of different things. I watched, I can't tell you how many YouTube videos, things like that. And finally, I decided that my panel was going to be an ABS plastic. It's some of the same things that they make holsters out of now, but this is thicker. The one I built here was a 1/4 inch thick, Kydex. I learned a lot of lessons with that. And the big one was in trying to form it, it was extremely hard. I ended up having to put it in the oven for about 20 minutes at 225 degrees before it would be malleable enough that I could shape it and do a 90-degree cut or 90-degree form in it. And so, that was accomplished after trying to use heat guns and everything else. So there's trial and error. Look at, how your material is going to be. Why don't you go to the next slide? I decided on this box. It's from Harbor Freight. Normally cost $100. Sometimes you can find them on sale for $69. If you can find that, that's great. Next. We're starting to talk about power. Okay. Power is a real strange thing when it comes to Go boxes, in that you can do lots of power. What I decided on is multiple ways to power this. First of all, it has a built-in LiPo battery. It is a 20 amp hour LiPo battery, but I wanted to be able to do other things as well. So I also, in all of this, in my little bag here, can carry a separate electrical charger. And in my car, I keep a converter that I can run off my battery to make 120 volts. So if I want to use this to recharge my battery, I can do that. Or if I'm close to an electrical source, I can use that. The big thing in capacity is amp hours. This is a 20 amp hour battery. And for this particular radio on HF, which is a Zygo G90, it'll give me about 3 days before I actually have to recharge. So that's a good thing. But yes, if you're going to use hamsters, you can, but you got to carry a lot of extra stuff. That wheel is the big thing to keep them going. Next. Lithium iron phosphate, LeFO4, PO4, is probably what hams are most used to these days, because it gives you a strong power curve that stays at optimal until the very end, and then it has a rapid drop off. If you go to lead acid batteries, it is a long drop off curve. So you're immediately after you start using it, depleting all the time it's going down. And that's going to hurt your transmissions. It's going to make it so that it's not going to last as long as you really need it to, because all of a sudden your transmitter is going to just quit because it doesn't have enough power. So the LiPo battery works a lot better for that. One of the things that I did to try to also make sure that this works well is I went with a solar panel. And solar panel is small, yeah. But then it opens up and goes to this size and gives me a 100-watt solar panel. Now, let me say this. How many people have worked with solar in here? None. Okay. Once you decide to work with solar, one of the first things you're going to find out is a 100-watt solar panel does not give you 100 watts. Never will. That's a nice laboratory experiment, and in the lab, it'll do it. But in the real world, trying to get it toward the sun, angled correctly, and everything else, it's not going to happen. Most of the time, you're just going to lay it out flat. We tested this one, and this one came out in bright sunlight, laying flat at 82 watts, which was better than I really expected. When I was doing the math on this process, I looked at the battery and everything else, and I figured that I had to have a 50-watt, power supply or solar. So I went with 100, knowing that I would give me that little bit of extra. And so that worked. That worked well. The other thing is the controller, which is the white box down here in the bottom. The solar controller, there's many different types. If you're going to have a lithium iron phosphate battery, make sure your controller is designed for lithium iron phosphate. If it's not, you're going to damage your system, you're going to damage your battery. Not worth the cost. And actually, the cost between this and other controllers is about $2. So, just get the right thing. Anything else here? No. Next. Plugs that go into it. The main thing is that both these types of plugs resist any problems with weather. The ones on the left there are designed, more for solar panels. They're what you're normally going to see attached to solar panels. These are what you normally see in automotive type work, but I found that they work well. And when I'm trying to connect up this and make the run from the solar panel back to the controller, and all I have to do into the controller is I have a pigtail right here that makes it so I can connect up to it. So it makes everything easy. Next. The radios. That's where the biggest problem came in to begin with. I can't tell you how much I wanted to have an ICOM 705. And then I looked at my pennies in my bank and decided, gee, you can't have an ICOM 705. So I started looking around, and I found that the Zygo G90 not only was an exceptional radio, but it had a lot of excellent reviews. So I went with it, and I will tell you, I'm very glad I did. First of all, the head separates from the body, so the body is back behind this panel. So all I have showing is just the head. It makes it easy to work with. And it's a fantastic radio as far as what it can do. The other one is a Radioddity DB25D, UHF, VHF, and DMR. Next slide. Like I said, the G90 was a really great thing for me because of its size. The head separates. Power requirements on receive are exceptionally small. So it gives me, when you start to think about duty cycles on radios, normally we look at a 90-10 for a duty cycle. We listen a lot more than we talk. So at that, it made it really great because, you know, the battery was going to last me much longer. It has excellent properties as a built-in antenna tuner, SWR meter, Morse code reader, waterfall, covers 160 all the way to 10. I wish it went further, but that's as far as it goes. And it's an easy setup from phone to CW to digital. Next. The Radionity, on the other hand, again, is a small one-piece unit, and the power consumption with it is small as well. It only has a 20-watt output, but it's better than using an HT with a 5-watt output. And the unit contains, as I said, VHF, UHF, and DMR, and it's a small package, and it holds 300,000 entries into its database. So just about everybody that's on DMR is going to show up on your radio. The only tractor that I found with this particular radio is its difficulty in programming. They have one book that goes for the manual that's 225 pages. So yeah, if you're interested in reading, that's the radio. Other than that, pardon me? Yeah. Yeah. Keep that thought. Is that the reason you sold it to me? Okay. Next slide. Okay, accessories that you could surely consider. I use several different accessories in this. One right here, a master switch. When I turn it on, it gives power to everything in the box. From there, I can come down here, I can turn on this radio, and I've got that. If I need power for other things, I've got cigarette lighter type plug-in for 12 volts here. I've got Anderson plugs here, and I have, if I can open this. Well, anyway, what you normally plug into your computer. So you can charge your phone off of it. Each one of these, though, I put on a separate switch so that it makes it so I have a little bit more control over it. Was it necessary? No, but I'm just that type of person. So I'll just be honest about it. Having the switches, again, makes it so I'm just controlling that one factor. The other thing is, if I can find it, it also allows me to have a lamp that I plug in, and I don't find it right now, but I've got a lamp that will plug into right here. So at night, I can, you know, have complete vision of everything that's going on. So that works out well. Antenna connectors along the side here, I went in and put BNC type connectors. That way, all I had to do was pigtails from the SO239 on each radio over to the BNC connector, and that made it a lot easier. From there, I use 316 coax. Anybody in here use 316? Yeah. 174 is one that a lot of people see on little antennas that you can put on your HTs, things like that. 316 is better, much better. Silver center connector in it, for one thing. Very low line loss, as long as you keep your cable short. When I say short, 35 feet or less. If you start going over 35 feet, you're going to start having a lot of signal loss. Most of my runs are 20 feet to 5 feet. When I say 5 feet, when I'm using a, I set up here with my magnetic loop, it makes it real easy because I'm only setting it up probably 5 or 6 feet away. Now, when I start going to other things, you know, then it becomes that I have to set up a little bit further because of the distance that I have to set up a larger antenna. Next slide. Digital. You know, I at first did not consider digital whatsoever. Mainly because I just hadn't learned much about it. And then I started looking at it a little bit more and thought, well, you know, maybe it's possible. So I went in the closet and I started digging things out, and I found my wife's old Dell Mini 1010 computer. I can get it open here. Try the other end. Simple little tiny computer. Does everything you need for digital. You can set it up for WinLink. You can set it up for FT8. I got an extra battery that went with it that now powers it for over 5 hours. So it'll do everything that I need, you know, during most cases when I'm going to be on the air. Now, next slide. Oh. Component wiring. Well, that's the big thing. When you start wiring this thing inside, or in any radio inside, or a Go box, you need to start looking at what you're going to have for resistance and loss inside your box. So in all colors, you know, and everything inside, I went with a 12 gauge stranded wire. Made it easy to do my wiring. It's all color coded, red or black. Geez. And on the ends, I just crimped connectors, whether they needed spade or circle connectors. And then, like I said, on the radio antennas, on the SO239s, I just did jumpers from them to the BNC connectors. And I used a wire loom inside as well to make things a little bit neater so it wasn't a rat's nest. Next. Again, I'll talk about the coax. 316 is a great coax, but I wanted to show you this while I'm at it. This is my antenna system. You know, nice, small carry box or carry bag. But then I've got two different types of antennas. Well, I was going to start putting it together. What I'm going to put together now is the setup for a dipole. And with it, it makes it extremely easy to put together. The thing you're going to find out with this type of system is that it takes probably less than 5 minutes to set your antenna up. You know, I went with this because I have tried before to set up in places where I had just a piece of wire and I was going to throw it up in a tree, until I found the places that I had no trees. So I changed my thought pattern on that and decided to go with a different type of antenna.
Lee, if I can make a comment on your antenna you're putting together.
Sure.
The one online is called the N2. It's a military grade antenna like what you're putting up there now. But here's your difference. That military grade N2 is $549.
Yeah.
Check. Lee will tell you here shortly what the cost for it, and you'll see it.
Yeah. Actually, what I have here is two different antennas, and go ahead and go to the next slide. In the bag, I've got what's called a JPC7, which is the dipole setup that I'm doing right now. But then I also have a second setup, which is called a PAC12. PAC12 utilizes a stake in the ground. From there, I add some counterpoise that goes out in 4 directions. And then I put on all 4 of these tubes together, 1 coil and 1 rod, and it becomes an invis. And it's extremely functional invis as well. You guys can tell you from the different places I've set up, whether it's the airport or different outings that we've had, that I've had extremely good use out of it, and especially the places I've been able to contact. So, it just depends on what you're wanting to do and what you're wanting to have for your antenna setup. From there, all I have to do is run my coax BNC to the radio, and I'm hooked up. So that's how quickly you can deploy an antenna and have it functional for you. These also will help tune between 40 and 20 meters and make it easier for you to fine tune. And having these sections that expand and collapse, you can get your SWR flat or 1.1 to 1 with no problem. Done it many, many times. Like I said, many guys have seen it, so it's easy to happen. The loop antenna, I built that, and like I told somebody earlier before the meeting, I've talked to France on it. Surprised the heck out of me. But the first time after I built it, I tried it in here and had it set up on one of these desks and just turned on the radio and listened, and there was somebody from the western part of Canada. So I picked up the mic and just gave it a shot, and he came back to me from transmitting inside this building. So I pretty much was sold right then. Luckily I had about 6 people around me who could testify what happened. Yeah, 20 watts. So, these things are all possible. But the whole thing, this antenna or the vertical can both handle 100 watts. If you want to use 100 watts, it'll handle it with no problem. Next slide. As I stated in the beginning, plan some more. It's going to save you a lot of frustration later on. It's going to make sure that you have all your parts together before you start doing it. Before I started doing a lot of things, took a piece of cardboard and fashioned it to the size and shape and everything that I wanted. So I could first mark things out, and then I cut them out and fitted it in and to make sure everything would fit. And the biggest thing after that is making sure the depth inside fits things as well. The batteries thick, so that's going to be the biggest thing. But then you've got switches coming down. Do you have enough room for the radio underneath it? Do you have enough room for all your different wiring? So plan ahead. Look at what you're doing to begin with and go from there. Draw your schematic so that, you have to later on, you can go back and do troubleshooting on it. And on every part of your circuit, use your meter. Check for continuity, check for resistance. And never apply power until everything checks out correctly. It's a hell of a thing to have to, buy something because you smoked it by having some wiring in the wrong place.
How much you know that?
Well, not from this.
Okay.
Not from this.
That B12, the vertical with the count how much that runs.
Yeah. Okay. The PAC12 or the vertical antenna, I got from a company called AliExpress, direct from China, but it cost me $123 with no shipping.
That's the one I told you from M2 that they offer It's 540.
You can go on Amazon now and put in PAC 12, and sure enough, they have it, but it's $158. And if you put in JPC 7, sure enough, they have it as well. I think $238. What I did is I bought the initial vertical, and then from AliExpress, I just bought the extra pieces that I needed to make up the other antenna. The original bag comes ready to carry all of it. So yeah, it's a no-brainer. And altogether, I got 2 antennas for about $160. So next slide. Pardon me? These will cover from from 40 to 6 meters. And they're extremely good on any of them. The mag loop is good from 40 to about 12 meters. And I've tried it on 10 and it's just, just can't do it. My best on it's probably 17 meters. But 20 meters is good, and like I said, 17 really, that's where I talk to France. So, but this is a set of plans that actually I got off the internet and built. The biggest problem was 3D printer, which I didn't have, but I took it to the Norman Public Library, which is now closed. And they've got 3D printers there. And they said, well, it's going to cost you for the materials. And so I said, okay. And so they had it ready the next day, and it cost me $7.12 in materials. Yeah. So it didn't hurt. What I can say, enjoy it, take pride in your box. Yes, sir. I thought about that to begin with, that there would be a heat problem, especially during the summer. I have not experienced it yet. I've never had any. I think the biggest problem with the Zygu, especially on heat, would be on digital, because it's transmitting a lot more on digital. And if that happens, I'm planning on putting a small muffin fan in. Sorry. Any other? Yes.
Your antenna looks a lot like a buddy pole.
Yeah, it sure does. But not the cost of a buddy pole.
No.
Yeah, I listen, guys. I looked at a lot of different things, and I looked at the buddy poles. I looked at what is it? Something calm. I'm trying to think of the name, but they do a lot of military type stuff that he was talking about. Yeah, and the biggest thing there is all of them, are featuring the same thing that I have here, but they got a little bag that's different or something else that's different. But I couldn't see the cost. If you know antennas, and most of you do, then design what you want that works for you. I know a lot of folks that don't use anything like this, but use just a piece of wire that they throw up someplace. Like I said, I designed this because I wanted to have something for emergency work. You remember May 3rd tornado and more? The main thing that happened there is that when people are saying, well, go to this street, there were no street signs. There was no way to tell what street was what from the next. There was no grass in the yard. An F5 tornado takes everything. And so being able to go to something like that and set up and be on the air and, in a time of need was what I was looking at. And so I didn't want to have to worry about anything else other than what I had with me. Got my cell phone. I can use it for GPS. and I can give out locations and need. That's the best thing we can do. Any other questions? I thank you for your time very much.
Let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and do the meeting.
Okay.
Good, perfect. You're gonna have a lot. Whoa, stop.
Okay. Oh, what did I do with myself?
I don't know. Go back here to sing.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get started for the meeting. Everybody take your seat. We're going to go ahead and get started with the meeting.
Oh, you got one more on the.
That's all right. Anything he leaves, I'll just pick it up, give away. You know that you can go on our website, www.w5nor.org for the meeting minutes and other projects and ideas that we have on there. We do try to keep that up to date. If you have one thing I would like to mention that had been mentioned before, if you have say a unique code plug for DMR and you don't mind sharing it, let us know and we'll put that on the webpage. That way we'll have different brands and different code plugs that people can use as like a foundation for a code plug, and then they can modify it to fit their needs, but they gives them a head start or a jump into doing DMR. You have other topics that you want to see on the web page, let us know. We can add those topics and information. We did have one brought up to me at the break here, which I thought's probably a pretty good idea. I will get with our web page coordinator for that, but on go boxes, and have a category of go boxes, and maybe show, say, a picture of a go box and what's in it, what was used. So it gives you an idea of what products and accessories you can use to do it. And we might show a variety of go boxes on that section when you click on it. So that gives people a jump starter and an idea of building a go box, because you get you a big case and then you're not really sure what you want to do with it. And that looking at them gives you ideas. So keep that in mind. And if you have ideas, bring it to us, let us know, and we'll add that and update on the webpage. At this time, I would like Larry to give us a treasury report.
Let's do the profit loss. So we're at the end of the year, and November is probably the lowest income of memberships, but we did have a few. Net income was 109.56. After donut, the only real expense was the donuts, but that was pretty much covered, I believe. So at the end of the year, we, as of the first month, had $1,700 in the checking account, 25,544 in this savings account. Or, I'm sorry, I was reading the wrong line. 23 in savings, 255 for the petty cash box, for a grand total of 25,544. Any questions? Club dues are due for as of the first of the year. As of March, I think it is. After March, they're late.
Thank you, Larry. comment on that, the dues help for all of the insurance and the little things that we do for the repeater to keep it up, keep it running good for you. That's what we use the dues for, is to covers those expenses for the repeater. So it's important that we get those in by the end of March. So we know what we've got money wise to use for the year to take care of the repeater. One thing we will bring up in January, and we'll let that team bring it up in January, is we start off with a budget each year. We set up aside a budget for the expenses of things that happen during the year, events, picnics, so forth. And then we'll give you an update of where we stood for the expenses for the end of the year in January, because it'll all be totaled by then, how we did against the budget. And usually we're pretty good on that. So we'll have that. We do keep in mind that the club voted that we're not doing a winter field day. We're working on doing more project events, like what we do Norman Night Out and More Night Out, and we do the airport over here when they have their function. And we try to set up at the library to do a function down there to show the public what we do. If you have an idea for events, let us know, let the new crew know in January that, hey, they've got this going on. It'd be nice if we could set up and kind of give them an idea of what amateur radio does for the community. So we want to do that on events. We're going to do more events. So we won't have the like I said, the January winter field day. If you want to participate in that, you're more than welcome to do that. We're just not going to do it as a club here. We will have a summer field day, and we'll start talking about that in March and start working towards what we're going to do, how we're going to set up, ideas from members of what we can do for field day. Last year we had, as it was referred to, as a real field day, because we couldn't get in this building. So we're going to kind of not totally do it that way again, because we have this nice building, but we'll do a modified together to where it feels more like, an actual field day, because we want to give everybody an idea that we can set up at a moment's notice and run like that for several days if we have to for emergencies. That's what field day does. And that's what we want to show. At this time, I would like our ARRL section manager for the state of Oklahoma, Mr. Mark Klein, if he would give us an update and also to let us know about January's visitor.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. ARRL stuff has been in the news recently. If you're an ARRL member, you're probably seeing stuff all go back around and round and round about memberships and newsletters and all that good stuff. If you are, as it stands now, if you are a non-life member, your paper copy will stop showing up at, I guess it already has. December's already out. So with the January one, they're going to be going online only. There is an option to add $25 a year to go ahead and do that, to let you get a paper copy if you're moving forward. If you are a life member, if you contact headquarters before the end of the year, you can get your paper copy reinstated, to get a paper copy shown up. They're getting a lot of folks are just, on life members. A lot of them, may not be around. They still may be a life member, but nobody's crossed them off the list. So they're hoping to get their list a little bit better on that. I know we're working hard to try to get the paper copies back. And John Stratton, N5AUS, is our division director. He's the guy in charge of Texas and Oklahoma area. Has been one that voted against all of this nonsense to shut down the paper thing. But their group was outvoted 11-4. If you want to see who the 11-4 is, go look at the meetings or contact me later. We'll tell you who all the divisions are that are holding it all up. But they're going to try to work something out in January. John will be on here or Zoom, depending on his caseloads that are happening. and we'll do an update with the ARRL folks at that time. One of the things ARRL sponsors, there's a ton of things that they do. They sponsor that never gets pressed, but one of them is Hamfest. And this year we've added a new Hamfest that's supposed to be coming in January 6th. So if you got a bunch of stuff to sell right after Christmas and you went and, you bought that 705 radio and you really need to get some funds to pay for it, Hamfest in Shakota, Oklahoma, out there where, what's the song? 169 meets 540 or whatever Carrie Underwood's hometown has got. Last year they did kind of a flea market deal with probably 80 or so folks, very well attended, and they're going to a big time Hamfest this year, January 6th. So that's a new one for us. The ones that have always been around is March out there in Elk City. There's one following that in July at Ham Holiday in Oklahoma City. You might have heard of Oklahoma City. Oh yeah, Claremore's in there. Jeez. Thank you. That's in April. That the information's all up on the websites, but April is firm for Claremore. Oklahoma City is firm for July. Talked to Enid last night, and they are still working to get their date firmed, which would be September 14th. Got a message from them this morning, so they still don't have it firm, but it's going to be in that time frame, plus or minus a week is what they're up to. Great facility. If you haven't been up to Enid, that's a good facility. It was really poorly attended last year, so we need to get that back up and running. And then the mighty Ardmore Hamfest down in Ardmore, America. The Ham-A-Rama ends out our month, our year in October. So a lot of good Hamfests that are up and running. SCAR's got a bunch of activities. If you look on the events page, you can see what SCAR's is doing. One of the other things we as a state or as a central Oklahoma folks do, the Cora folks, we run a couple Hamfests and we run all ham dinners. January is going to be the next all ham dinner. That sounds like a long way away, but the third week of January is coming up soon. And we go up to Golden Palace in Midwest/Dell/Oklahoma City area. 15th and Air Depot, which is technically Oklahoma City, but everybody gripes that it's Dell City, it's Mills. No, it's Oklahoma City. If you go look online, it's Oklahoma City.
You go north of 15th Street, it's Oklahoma City.
Yeah. But it is north of 15th. It's a good Chinese buffet with a lot of good stuff there. You've had like 60 folks there recently in the last couple of times, so it's back up to full speed after pandemic operations. Anything else that we've got going? Wait, Elmer Night here is a big one. You want me to chase Elmer Night?
Yeah, I've mentioned
Elmer Night is still Tuesday nights. We will not meet the day after Christmas. So it gives you a chance to sober up if you're the ones that are out there drinking all Christmas. Yeah, you probably would be the guy. Yeah, that's it. But Tuesday night after Christmas, we will not be there. We will be there all the other Tuesdays. We'll be there on Zoom. Okay, yeah, you could show up. Yeah, hungover on Zoom. That would be, yeah. Let's do that. Bring your own margaritas. Yeah, that's not a bad. We should publicize it that way. But it will be on Zoom. We do meet here Tuesday nights to 6:30 to 9 in this wonderful facility. It's been amazing how many folks. What number did you give me last week, Mark? 38 folks were in here. Yeah. Mark said he looked around and saw 6 different big projects that people were working on around the room. We had some guys programming radios. We had some guys building stuff. The fun part was we had a couple of the folks back from the Gordon Cooper High School bunch. There's a pre-engineering class out there that's doing balloon launches and tracking. And the third thing they're doing is they've got a little pointer that will point at the balloon. So it'll sit there and sweep the sky as the balloon goes through this. So you could kind of give an idea where that balloon pointer is at. They showed up about a month ago with about a dozen of them. And Rick and me, and I don't remember who else was there. There was just 10 of us, I think. Buried. Lee was buried in that. Mark was buried in on that. And tried to get them some knowledge. And they said, as they're walking out the door, I learned more in 20 minutes standing here than we did in 3 weeks of looking at the internet. So it was really cool to see those kids going. This Friday morning, they're going to do a presentation on those projects for some engineers out in Shawnee at their local folks. And we're going to hope to get them here to do a presentation on that piece. They will take those balloon pieces to the eclipse in April down in Broken, Idabel, Bow, Texar, something place. Say it. Yeah. Down yonder, down yonder. Yes, exactly right. And they will take that stuff down there. It's a NASA grant that they got to go do this. One of the kids that was here last week, they had a problem with one of their radios that we had set up a month ago. And the problem was they stole my wife's receiver instead of theirs. So when they took it back, it was Charlene's. It was one I'd set up for my wife for balloon for her class. And it didn't match any of their stuff. So they brought it back in. We fixed it very quickly. And we've done a lot of programming to get them up and running to get some data back and forth. So it's been really, really a good deal to do amateur radio. The gentleman in charge, Ron Markham, after the first night saw the folks happening with the Elmer night, said, we need to put amateur radio in our spring semester. So we're trying to come up with a project. If anybody's got any ideas on a project to build for high school kids to make it happen, that's kind of cool.
That's what we're talking about, events.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good event. And the kids, as they went out the door, the kids said, yeah, we picked this pointer project because there was a group in Colorado that were college seniors and they failed at the project. So we, as high school kids, we knew that we could do it better than they could. But man, I remember those days. Yeah, take that hill. Nobody else can get it, but shoot, I'm a high school kid. I can do it. So those kind of things are the fun part. And if you've got some ideas for a project for spring, that would be really kind of a cool deal. And we'll make that happen. But a lot of activity. Any interest in classes? Everybody got friends that need classes? Yeah, Chris's daughter is going to outdo him. Chris does. So anybody want to put money on this? She's what, 9? Yeah, she's 9. I think she's going to win. Nope, she's working on it. Yep, she's got books. Yeah, no, she's got to get technician first, but I think Chris is worried. I think he is. So if Chris calls you asking for help on an extra, don't help him. Don't do it. I know we've always looked at an extra class and I haven't had enough interest involved. There have been a couple running around. I don't know if others, do you have information about extra class, Dwayne? Okay. What's your something else? Yeah, I just learned this morning that I'm supposed to be on the air December 17th through the 24th. Is that right? Oh, 1 day. 6 hours. Yeah, us unpaid volunteers. Yeah. So I'll repeat it for the record. December 17th. What day is the week is? Is that a Sunday? So Sunday 15 Zulu is what? 10 in the morning?
Yeah.
So 10 in the morning for 6 hours. We are going to be all on the air and you can get VOTA points, volunteers on the air. And I guess apparently it is, since Dwayne's going to make me get on. So I'll, by golly, crank up the big rigs. And
That's 150 points right there.
I think it's 175 from
175.
And yeah, I'll fire them up. As long as we do simplex, we can do two meters, even 440. Yes, sir, Mr. Bill. Why can you download a certificate now and the event's not over with? That's a good a really good point. I'm thinking the reason is that they got it done and it's up on the web. So it's like, woo, go ahead and get it now and get it. So you can do one now. And, or if you're like Dwayne, who has how many points? 62,000 points. He's the #1 points getter in Oklahoma for the Volunteers on the Air thing. And I think the next one has got like 12 points. Is that right? That's I've got what? I've got 24. Oh, did that?
I think in Oklahoma, I'm ranked 54th.
Yeah. So Mark's ranked 54th. How many here are chasing Volunteers on the Air? Is anybody doing that? Has been doing that? Bill has. Mark has. Dwayne, I know, is the nuts about it. But yeah, that's a really good point. And I didn't realize that until Dwayne told me this morning that we need to get on the air. So I'll put that on my calendar to make that happen. And yours is all digital. Do you remember how to work a microphone?
Hey,
What?
that's Lee's line.
What? No, Lee, you changed him, man. You changed the brother. He's now digital.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah, that is a good. The Volunteer on the Air is a good thing. You'd asked a question about the extra test, the extra class. We have extra videos on the website that are there. If you're a video guy, you can go chase those down. I would say Elmer Nights, if you want to do something with extras, come with, an idea of what your questions might be. Or where you're having the troubles with it. If you're going to take some extra tests and you say, oh, this section, I'm in big problems. Somebody here will happily run you through those things. I just, who did the extra test? One in Tulsa did one online with an actual real life test, a real life class online last fall. And it's just such a wide breadth of stuff that it's tough to make happen. But we'll aim for another technician general in the spring.
Here it is, the end of the year. I'm holding a copy of the newsletter. It comes out, it's 15 to 17 pages long, but it's got a lot of information. And there's a page here, it says local hamfest and odds and ends. So if you do not get the newsletter every month, make sure that Mr. Klein over here has your email address and you'll get one of the newsletters.
W5NOR.org/email will get you signed up.
There you go. And you'll know what's going on, the different events coming up and stuff, because he puts that out every week. He puts it out every week. And then you can find out, like I said, all the Hamfest, all the things that's going on, getting this newsletter. So I wanted to mention that. Thank you, Mark. This time, let's just cover briefly here. Let's cover the nets. We need to cover the nets. Lee's up here doing this, so I'll good. Cover the Phil Sennett is not here with us this morning. He's still recuperating, but doing better, I hear. So I'll mention about the Aries net. It's Tuesdays on the club repeater at 8 p.m. They have a real good program that they do each Tuesday on that. They do it sometimes simplex, sometimes on the repeater. That way that you can make sure that your HTs and your mobiles and all those rigs and stuff and antennas and stuff work for that in case that comes up and it's needed. Come over here and want to have Denny talk about the MacNet and the Gossip Net, if you would, for me. Okay. Yep. I got this thing all stretched out, so you're gonna have to kind of hold on to it.
All right. Whoops. That fell off. Well, let's see if this is working. Oh, okay. First, the MacNet, 9 o'clock every morning, 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. And you check in there and see what's going on and have some plans about the day. You can let them know or talk about it. And then the Gossip Net follows the Aries Net on Tuesday night on the repeater after 8:30, or when the other net is finished. Sometimes they get a long program going and run over a little bit. Hey, I come over there and talk about anything you like. You want an extra license? Go find somebody else. But anyhow, we can discuss anything you like. And that's about it for me. Anyhow, thank you much.
Thank you, sir. Oh, okay. We'll have Mark go ahead and talk about DMR net.
Every Monday at 8:15 local time, we do a DMR net, a statewide DMR Aries net. One of them fine net controls is walking out the room, and I'm the other one, and another one, and Mike Wood is another one. He runs out of here, or he ran out for something else this morning. But the three of us run that net Monday nights, 8:15. Anybody's welcome to join. 3140 on your FM dial. No, that's not right. On your DMR dial. And it's a good place to learn stuff about the state. And it's a good place to see who's doing what. We always have some visitors from Wyoming and Illinois and Texas and Ohio. It's kind of fun to see all the people showing up for an Oklahoma net. Join us.
All right, thank you, sir. Now Mr. Bill Baker is going to talk about 10 meter.
What about six?
And it's U6.
Okay, we'll step back a day to Monday. Monday nights at 8 p.m. is the 6 meter net on 50.200. Excuse me. Does anyone know Jim KG5BIM's status? He's back on VHF, but he may not be on HF. Anyway, Tom, KH6 AAA, has stepped up to be net control for that net. Then step forward another day to Wednesdays. We have the 10 meter net on Wednesday at 8 p.m. 28.445 upper sideband. Come and join us there.
Thank you, sir. 10 meters working really well right now too. So might try it out, see how your 10 meter setup works. We have some other activities that we do during the week. We have a website that's called Discord. How many of you use Discord? How many know that it's even exists? And we have a club. We got a few. We got a club page on Discord. Once you set it up, you can load up our club page, and then you can put out information. Hey, this band is working great, or I just made contact with Thailand or whatever on this frequency, and or you have a piece of equipment with an issue. You can talk to them, because it's like having the Elmers sitting out there on Discord, and you can talk with other club members. It's pretty cool. So you want to, if you wanted something else to add for amateur radio on that, Discord's a good way to do it. We have WinLink that is set up that you can do WinLink across the nation. They've got a lot of, it's not too hard to set up WinLink. You can actually set that up pretty easy. It's like having a text messaging system or an email system through a radio, from your computer to through a radio. You can do it what they call telnet, which is like doing it through the internet, but you can do it through a radio. It's pretty cool. So if the internet goes down on you, you can still send. I can send through the radio an email message to Mark, and he can get it on his computer there. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. We also, because we want people to make sure your WinLink works, Mark has set up it's called Hamword Game. And it's like anybody who ever does Wordle, it's a lot like Wordle. And you can go on and do Hamword on WinLink, and it starts on Sunday night. Right now, standard time at 6 o'clock. And you get 6 chances to come up with the 5-letter word, the mystery word. Hey, it's a good way to practice WinLink. It's a good way to make sure your equipment's still working good. It's kind of fun. There's right now Mark, you know how many you actually get a week roughly on?
A typical week's about 80 folks making about 350 guesses from 22 different countries across 40 states, something of that nature. So it exploded on us.
So see, there's a lot of people doing that, and it's kind of fun to do. Gets competitive. So you need to check it out. Check out Hamword. Go on to the webpage for the Hamword game, and you can read that, kind of get an idea how it works. He's showing it up there on the screen now. Also, we want to talk about POTA, Parks on the Air. There's even this month, I mean, this month's been good weather pretty much for December, and there's still people going out to the parks. And if you're a digital person like I am, you can actually, when you're on FTH, you see these come up and they're CQ POTAs. So you know, you go out there and you're getting these guys out in the park, and they're really excited that you're trying to get them, because they're trying to make contacts out there in these parks, coast to coast. In fact, I got 2 the other day, and they were in Canada. So, I mean, you want to do that. These guys are working towards getting all the different parks in a state, all the different parks across the country. Some of them even do travels, like vacation travels, to go to parks and set up. And you wouldn't think, but there would be remote parks in this country, but there's some that's pretty remote. And if they can go out and do that, that's just like making a contact to Singapore or Thailand or one of those. I mean, to do Parks on the Air and to make a contact from that park. Mr. John Jets here is our resident expert on Parks on the Air. How many are you working at? What's your 10,000? Getting there close to 10,000 contacts. Hey, that's a lot when you're trying to activate from parks. So try check out the POTAs. They do have their web page on there. You can sign up on that web page. It's free. And you don't have to be a participant as far as an activator from a park. You can be what they call a hunter. And what you're doing is you're basically going after those guys in the parks. And I do that. I've never actually activated from a park. I've done hunting. And I enjoy doing that because I know that those guys appreciate you making contact with them in the park. So go out there and sign up for that. And then it gives you on that page, once you're signed up, it shows you the activity of people that have been spotted in those parks. And that way, you know, the frequency, you know, how long ago that they were shown on there. There's like this one here shows Ross Pond State Park. It's US. Frequency shows the call of the person that's in the park and was heard 16 seconds ago. So, you know, they're still broadcasting from that park. That's pretty interesting. I mean, you go out there and you can follow that, and then you can get on frequency right quick and see if you can make contact with them. SSB, CW, digital. Anyway, that's something that everybody ought to at least look at. That's just another facet of amateur radio. We've got a lot of different things out there. You've got D-Star on ICOM radios. You've got Wires X on Yaesu radios. It's just another facet of amateur radio. You need to explore it. You make general, explore all the different possibilities that you can get on out there. There's a lot of hookups, a lot of ways to make conversation with other hams. So I really want to emphasize that everybody just take a look at it. It may not be your cup of tea, but you know what, you might look at it and say, hey, I didn't know that existed. I want to have a little fun with it. Try it just once. You'll be pulled in. It works. All right. At this time, I would like Mr. Wayne Dutton to talk about the siren net that's conducted every Saturday.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Yes, as he said, every Saturday at noon local time, we do the siren net. We have several spotters in the field that go out and sit under a siren. They listen to it. The emergency management personnel, they get telemetry back from their electronic equipment, but they like having an ear on it just to make sure that that's correct, because sometimes that's not always correct. We've had times when telemetry said a siren worked, but it was not audible. So anyway, it's on a 443-700 repeater, which is the SCAR's 440 repeater, a 141.3 PL tone. And we assist the cities of Norman, Moore, Noble, and Newcastle. And then we still need a lot of spotters. We've got a lot. We appreciate the ones we got. We can always use more. And we can use more and all over. But anyway, we will be having a siren test today in all cities. I've been in contact with the EMs, and everything seems to be a go. So we'll see you on the air. And I just want to add, you don't have to be a club member to participate in this. As long as you are properly licensed, you have to have at least a technician license to get on the 440 repeater. So anyway, with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. It is important that it does save a lot of money for the emergency managements of the various cities that we help participate in letting them know their sirens work or don't work, because they can, instead of them driving out or having a team have to go out to all the different sirens, we have people stationed at those sirens, and it actually lets them know if they have one that's not working well. And we want to make sure that all the sirens work in all the different communities that we help cover. So that's an important function that the amateur radio community enjoys doing, and it benefits everybody. That's just another way that the amateur radio community helps the public by keeping those sirens working. At this time, I'd like Mr. Ed Hatch, if he would, to talk about the VE report and give us an update on what we just concluded this past week.
So we had 7 applicants who tested on Thursday night. We've got 2 new amateurs, and we've got 4 new technicians awaiting their call signs. So I would expect the FCC opens back up on Monday. They should be ready to pay by Tuesday morning. So looking good. Our next test session, January the 4th. So if you're ready for that upgrade, we'll be ready for you.
You can also go online to our club webpage and check out the new membership list. It's updated. If you want to get a copy, you can actually print it out if it's easier for you to do that, where you can keep up with it. So you might want to check that out. I want to thank Larry and Mark for working hard on getting that totally up to date and working good for that. I would also like to, at this time, thank my team this year for doing such a wonderful job. We had Rodney, who is the vice president this year, and he's always there if for some reason I can't be here. We had Mr. Larry, treasurer, and he's done an excellent job this year for treasurer, and I appreciate Larry. We got Chris over here, who types up and comes back and tells me, look, I got it all down. I know what you said. So he's got us covered there. We got Mr. Mark Klein, who does the technical background of the club, and he assists me in just about all the functions and the events and everything that go on. He's the backbone of the club here. And we've got Ed Hatch over here. We got Ed. He's the technical person keeps the repeaters running. and lets us know if we have any issues with it, and usually gets it fixed. So you talk on the radio. So I'd like to thank all the members who work together as a team. This is the largest club in the state of Oklahoma, and I'm proud of that. We need to work real hard this next year, increasing the number. Just a little bit of a tidbit for you to think about. Oldest member of our club, unless I missed somebody on that, the oldest member of our club is 92. And the youngest member of our club currently, he's 15. So we need to get more members in the club. Like Mark mentioned earlier, we got that team of students out there we're hoping to get more younger members into the club with by helping them with their project, and we get them as new hams. So when you're out and about in the public and you're talking to people, and you might have a hat on showing your call and so forth, talk up amateur radio. We really want to encourage them to come to Tuesday night Elmer night, see all the activity that's going on. That's a good way to bring them into the club. So we want to do that. I have enjoyed being your president this year. Team for next year that was voted on as Rodney Barrett will be the president of the club for next year. Mike Wood will be the vice president. Larry Goodwin will be the treasurer. Chris over here, he is the fast-fingered secretary, and he covers all that. Mark and I will continue to do events and things behind the scene to help the team out on that. We've got Ed that takes care of the repeaters and so forth on that. And we have a lot of folks that actually come out. Denny, we appreciate him for doing the picnics and stuff for us this year. I mean, we have a lot of people behind the scenes that help, and we want to continue doing that in 2024. Any other new business before we close out 2023? Yes. Don't give you your option.
So I know the club is very active in the hospital radio network that we're still setting up and everything. And I just wanted to let everybody know I appreciate everything that's been going on and all the help and everything. Chris Pape has been actively helping me, get the Google thing going and stuff for us so we can all have one place to submit documents and all that kind of stuff. But I just want to let everybody know that we have decided to cancel the meeting in December because the holidays are so crazy busy. And we're canceling the one in January as well because the all ham dinner is the same night. So the next meeting is going to be the third Thursday in February. So hope we can all get together and on Zoom. Yeah. This club is actually letting us use the Zoom address and stuff here, or the Zoom account. So we appreciate everything that the SCARS does for us. And hopefully one of these days we'll get it up and running and stuff. So my next step is to get into the hospitals and try and get some inventory and see what they have and what they need and what we need to decide to bring and all that kind of stuff. So thank you very much.
We'll mention that we mentioned earlier about the go boxes, and we mentioned that if you have to set up a quick antenna like Lee showed us on tripods and stuff on that, you can't take an antenna like this one that he's got here. They're made up. They're very durable. They're weatherproof. I know I've got one up. They work very well. They'll cover 40 through 6. You could use a tuner to do that. It works real well. Most of the bands, 40, 20, 15, 10, you don't have to tune it. I mean, it's there. It's working. But you can do something like this and carry that in a go bag real easy. He's got some here if you want to get one from him on that. They even have keys if you're going to do CW out there in location. So get with him, get with Dwayne, and he'll get you set up on something like that. Look for those kind of simple antennas that you can throw up and throw out anywhere on that. We want to thank Lee again for doing a project like that. The Go boxes, come up and check that one out again. You like, one thing I do want to mention on the Go boxes before we go, that one really highlighted one mention. This is called an EcoFlow battery unit. Does AC, DC. It's got a good battery in it. You can hook up a solar panel to it. You can carry that out in the field. Thursday night testing, we didn't plug in with the cord and stuff set up for the printer and the laptop necessary to run that. Mark used a EcoFlow. You can look those up. He ran the whole operation Thursday night from using the EcoFlow. No AC power here. So keep that in mind. All right, we're going to conclude this meeting for December. And we look forward to having everybody back in January. Have a wonderful Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everybody. Meeting is adjourned.
The shepherds at these tidings rejoiced much mind, and left their flocks feeding in tempest, storm, and wind. And when to Bethlehem the blessed babe to find. Oh, God.